Hello everyone, myself Dr. Sanjay Kumar Soni, maxillofacial surgeon. In this video, I am going to discuss about the external carotid artery. External carotid artery. In 75% of adults, common carotid artery bifurcates at the level of C3 and C4, roughly at the upper border of thyroid cartilage into internal and external carotid artery. There is some variation at the level of bifurcation of carotid artery. Like in case of children, it bifurcates one vertebrae level higher as compared to the adult. The highest level at which bifurcation is seen is at C1 and C2, and the lowest level at which bifurcation is seen is at T1 to T2. Now, before going in detail anatomy of external carotid artery, let's discuss about two important structures that lies at the bifurcation of common carotid artery. Now coming on to the first important structure, that is carotid body or receptor. It is normally of size of 2.5 into 5 millimeter to 4 into 7 millimeter flattened structures on the median and deep side of the upper end of the common carotid artery. Blood supply from the small vessels, usually from the external carotid artery, termed as glomic artery or ascending pharyngeal artery. Nerve supply from the glossopharyngeal nerve, vagus nerve and hypoglossal nerve. Now coming on to the function of carotid body. Chemoreceptor carotid body responds to the increase in carbon dioxide or decrease the partial pressure of oxygen. When this happens, the peripheral chemoreceptor increase the respiratory rate to try and return the body to homeostasis. Now coming on to the second important structure, that is carotid sinus or baroreceptor. It lies at the bifurcation of common carotid artery. It is responsive to change in the arterial blood pressure. It acts as a baroreceptor or pressure receptor and regulates blood pressure. Its blood supply from the internal carotid artery and nerve supply from the carotid sinus nerve or nerve of hearing. Now coming on to the function of carotid sinus or baroreceptor. These receptors sense the stretch and increase in pressure exerted on the carotid body. Baroreceptor sends impulses to the brain through cranial nerves 9th, that is glossopharyngeal, and the brain sends an impulse back down through cranial nerve 10th or vagus nerve. The baroreceptor influences the sympathetic nervous system to help and regulate the blood. The baroreceptor controls the autonomic activity of heart, provides a rapid means of adjusting cardiac output to match arterial blood pressure. For example, if there is increase in arterial blood pressure is detected by baroreceptor, reflexively decrease heart rate and cardiac output by increasing parasympathetic activity, and in case decrease in arterial blood pressure elicit the opposite response. Now let's move on to the detailed anatomy of external carotid artery. External carotid artery. It begins opposite the upper border of the thyroid cartilage, and then it takes a slightly curved course, passes upward and forward, and then inclines backward to the space behind the neck of mandible, where it divides into the superficial temporal and maxillary artery. In the child, external carotid artery is somewhat smaller than the internal carotid, but in the adult, the two vessels are of nearly equal size. At its origin, this artery is more superficial and placed nearer the midline than the internal carotid and is contained within the carotid triangle. Now coming on to the branches of external carotid artery. It has 8 branches. First branch is superior thyroid artery, second is lingual artery, third external maxillary or facial artery, fourth occipital artery, fifth posterior auricular artery, sixth ascending pharyngeal artery, seventh superficial temporal artery, and last is internal maxillary artery. Now let's move on to the superior thyroid artery. Superior thyroid artery is the first branch of external carotid artery arising just below the level of the greater horn of the hyoid bone. Then it descends along the lateral border of the thyroid gland where it divides into branches to supply the gland. It has 4 branches: hyoid, superior laryngeal, sternocleidomastoid, and cricothyroid. Hyoid artery passes along the lower border of the hyoid bone below the thyroid muscles and anastomosis with the same artery of the contralateral side to supply the infrahyoid muscle. The superior laryngeal artery goes along with the internal laryngeal nerve, piercing the thyroid membrane to supply blood to the tissue of the upper part of the larynx. It anastomosis with its fellow artery of the opposite side and with the inferior laryngeal branch of the inferior thyroid artery. The sternocleidomastoid artery runs downward and laterally across the carotid sheath to supply the middle region of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Last, cricothyroid artery crosses the anterior cricothyroid ligament to supply the cricothyroid muscle. Lingual artery. It arises from the external carotid artery between the superior thyroid artery and the external maxillary or facial artery. The lingual artery runs upward and forward on the inferior surface of the tongue and continue as the terminal branch till its tip. The terminal branch of the lingual artery is called as deep lingual artery. The other branches of lingual artery are suprahyoid artery, dorsal lingual, sublingual, and deep lingual. Dorsal lingual branches that supply the dorsum of the tongue till the epiglottis. Sublingual artery supplying the sublingual gland. The branches of the lingual artery provides blood supply to the tongue, sublingual gland, and the floor of the mouth. This diagram is showing the various branches of the lingual artery. Now coming on to the external maxillary artery or facial artery. Facial artery arises above the tip of the greater corner of the hyoid bone, and it gives 2 main branches, that are cervical branches and facial branches, that can be further divided into various branches. Facial artery has a tortuous route along the nasolabial fold towards the medial angle of eye. The facial artery with its branches supplies the submandibular gland, lip, chin, most of the facial muscles, tongue, pharyngotympanic tube, soft palate, and tonsils. The various branches of facial artery. Branches of cervical part of facial artery are ascending palatine, tonsillar, glandular, submental, muscular. Now, branches of the facial part of the facial: inferior labial, superior labial, lateral nasal, angular. Facial artery ends at the medial commissure of the eye as the angular artery. Ascending pharyngeal artery. It arises from the back part of the external carotid near the commencement of the vessels and ascends vertically upwards along the side of the pharynx to the base of the skull. Then it continues as meningeal artery, which is terminal branch of ascending pharyngeal artery. Branches of ascending pharyngeal artery, that are pharyngeal artery, prevertebral artery, palatine artery, inferior tympanic artery. Pharyngeal branches that supply the muscles and mucosa of the pharynx as pharyngotympanic tube. Inferior tympanic artery that enters the tympanic cavity through the temporal canaliculus and supplies the medial wall of the cavity. The ascending pharyngeal artery with its branches provides blood supply to the muscles and mucosa of the pharynx, pharyngotympanic tube, medial wall of the tympanic cavity and the middle cranial fossa. Occipital artery. It arises from the posterior part of external carotid artery opposite the facial artery below the posterior belly of digastric muscle. The branches of occipital artery are sternocleidomastoid, mastoid, stylomastoid, auricular, muscular, descending, meningeal and occipital. The occipital artery supplies blood to the back of the scalp, sternocleidomastoid, trapezius, deep muscle of the back and dura mater of the posterior cranial fossa. Now coming on to the posterior auricular artery. Posterior auricular artery arises above the digastric and styloid muscle. It passes upward between the parotid gland and the styloid process to reach the back of the auricular cartilage. Here it divides into auricular and occipital branch. On its course, the posterior auricular artery gives off the stylomastoid artery. This artery enters the stylomastoid foramen and the facial nerve, tympanic cavity and the mastoid antrum cells. The posterior auricular artery with its branches supply the digastric, styloid and sternocleidomastoid muscle, parotid gland, tympanic cavity, facial nerve and mastoid antrum cell. Now coming on to the superficial temporal artery. The superficial temporal artery separates from the external carotid artery behind the neck of the skull. It passes upward near the auricle over the posterior root of the zygomatic process of the temporal bone. At this point, the pulse of the superficial temporal artery is palpable. Branches of superficial temporal artery are transverse facial, anterior auricular, middle temporal and frontal. The frontal branch of the superficial temporal artery supplies the forehead area and anastomosis with the ophthalmic artery, which is the branch of internal carotid artery. The superficial temporal artery, along with its branches, supply to the forehead area, external ear, parotid gland, and temporal muscle. Internal maxillary artery or maxillary artery is one of the two terminal branches of the external carotid artery in our neck. It has 17 branches broken into three parts, which supplies an array of muscles, structures, and passageway in and around the face and ear. Maxillary artery is the largest terminal branch of the external carotid artery that arises at the back of the neck of the mandible. It supplies deep structure of the face such as the mandible, maxilla, teeth, musculomastication, palate, nose and part of the cranial dura mater. At its origin, the maxillary artery is embedded in the parotid gland. After exhausting the gland, it runs through the infratemporal fossa and enters the pterygopalatine fossa via the pterygomaxillary fissure. At its origin, the maxillary artery is embedded in the parotid gland. After exhausting the gland, it runs through the infratemporal fossa and enters the pterygopalatine fossa via the pterygomaxillary fissure. It has three parts: mandibular, pterygoid, and pterygopalatine. Diagram showing the three parts of the internal maxillary artery and its various branches. First part is mandibular, second is pterygoid, and third is pterygopalatine. Now coming on to the first part, that is mandibular part. It passes horizontally forward between the ramus of the mandible and the sphenomandibular ligament, and it has five branches: anterior tympanic, middle meningeal, deep auricular, accessory meningeal, and inferior alveolar. Pterygoid part runs obliquely forward and upward under the cover of the ramus of the mandible and insertion of the temporalis muscle. It gives four branches: deep temporal, mesteric, pterygoid, and buccinator. These branches supply the corresponding muscles. Now coming on to the pterygopalatine part. It lies in the pterygopalatine fossa in relation with the sphenopalatine ganglia. Various branches of pterygopalatine part of maxillary artery. Number 1. Posterior superior alveolar artery, infraorbital artery, descending palatine artery, artery of the pterygoid canal, sphenopalatine artery, and pharyngeal artery. Thank you.